The Kano State High Court has adjourned the sitting in the case filed by the Kano State government to restrain the 15th Emir of Kano, and that's Ado Bayero, and 4 other emirs from parading themselves as emirs. The motion on notice was filed by the plaintiffs on interlocutory injunction after the interim order was granted by the court, and the first defendant and the suit served the plaintiff with a counter affidavit, which they were to respond to. The presiding judge, Justice Amina Adamo, listened to both counsels and adjourned the hearing of the suit till 22nd of July 2024. The development comes after the Kano State Police Command said it had deployed more armed personnel to the 2 palaces housing the contending emirs in the metropolitan local government areas of Kano State. It was gathered that the hunters guarding the 2 palaces withdrew with the arrival of more policemen at both palaces. And now we're joined by our correspondent, Emmanuel Bagudu, who has been monitoring this development. Emmanuel, good evening. Glad to have you join me. Emmanuel, can you hear me? Okay, I can barely hear you. Maybe we'll try to connect with you in the course of the news. A high court in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has discharged and acquitted a former member of the National Assembly, Farah Dagogo, of criminal charges proffered against him by the Rivers State government. Dagogo, an ally of the presidential candidate of the PDP, People's Democratic Party, in 2023 general election, Atiku is the immediate past member who represented the Gema Boni constituency in the House of Representatives. Dagogo was arrested on April 20th, 2022 in Port Harcourt the day he appeared for screening as a PDP governorship aspirant at the South-South Zonal Secretariat of the party in Port Harcourt. His arrest followed his being earlier declared wanted by then Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who accused him of sponsoring thugs and cultists to disrupt the PDP screening exercise for National Assembly and State Assembly aspirants in Port Harcourt. A federal high court in Lagos has discharged and acquitted a former speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeyemi Ikuforiji, over alleged 338.8 million naira laundering. Ikuforiji was discharged alongside his former personal assistant, Oyebode Atoyebi. Justice Liman held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission failed to prove its case against defendants beyond reasonable doubt. The defendants were first arraigned on March 1st, 2012, before Justice Okechukwu Okeke on 20 counts bordering on misappropriation and money laundering. Now let's move away away from court matters now. A resident of the Trademore Estate at Lugbe area of Abuja have dismissed reports which claim that 2 persons lost their lives following an early morning rain that occurred in the area. Though they confirmed that the estate was earlier submerged due to heavy rainfall on Sunday evening and Monday morning, there were, however, no fatalities recorded. Trademore Estate, located in the Federal Capital Territory, has always been in the news for repeated flooding challenges due to poor drainage network, which causes the estate to be submerged whenever torrential rains are witnessed. And to talk about this, I'm joined by our correspondent, Joshua Imarai. Joshua, good evening. Glad to have you join me.
A good evening from the nation's capital, Abuja.
Okay, just bring us up to speed, as to what things are like right now at the estate.
Well, I'm currently at Trademore Estate here in Abuja, and clearly the waters that earlier submerged this estate has gone down, and earlier it was reported across social media and all media that this estate was flooded, heavily flooded, as a result of the rain that occurred in the early hours of today and the later hours of yesterday. Well, I have the chairman of the estate in MSC, Udofort, to bring us up to speed as regards to the current situation of this estate. Mr. Inemesi, we earlier heard today that the estate was flooded, and we also heard that 2 people lost their lives. How true is this statement?
Well, yeah, it's true that we had a flash flood this morning, but as regards the loss of life, there was no loss of life. Now, the flash flood actually happened where we are right now, and as you can see, this is as a result of, the issues that were identified and, reported to the different government agencies, in which we've been waiting for them to take action in correcting this error. Now, Ecological Fund were the ones that did this road, and if you can see this bridge, the way this bridge has been constructed is far higher than the level of that Trademore entrance where we are right now. So once rain falls like this, you see water coming in from adjoining estates. And because this place is the lowest point at this point, the water begins to gather, thereby causing flood. Now, we've written, like we said, we've had meetings with different governmental organizations who have identified with these issues, and they've also, offered to give us engineering solution that will address this issue. And once that is done, I can assure you we won't have anything flood again in Trademore. Now, the issue with Trademore is because it's been happening year in, year out. And you see, the major cause of flood in Trademore or around Trademore is not within Trademore, but it is as a result of the activities of all the adjoining estates around Trademore. That is what causes the flood in Trademore. And most of these things have been addressed. So you can see, bet not for this flash flood that happened here, there is no other incidents that we had within the whole of Trademore Estate. So please, we are soliciting for government to do fast and help us address this engineering solution. Thank you.
So you heard it from Inemesit Udo, for the chairman of the Trademore Estate Phase 2. He highlighted several issues that, as a result of development by some estate developers, they now see the consequences of the flash flooding that happens perennially. Subsequently, we've been experiencing this flash flooding for the past years. And today, the flooding that happened today is not the first of its kind, but we hope that the appropriate authorities will see to the entire situation and provide a workable solution.
Thank you so much, Joshua Imarayi, our correspondent, who is live in Abuja. Nigeria's Senate President Godswill Akpabio has addressed allegations regarding the Senate's purported plan to purchase new aircraft amidst growing concerns over hunger in Nigeria. Akpabio made this clarification during his visit to Maiduguri to pay condolences to Senator Mohammed Tahir on the loss of his father. Our correspondent, Umaru Kirawa, throws more light.
The 10th President of the Nigerian Senate, Godswill Akpabio, arrives in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. The visit is to condole one of the Nigerian senators, Mohammed Tahir Manguno, and his family over the death of his father.
Our presence here is not just to condole with the family, but also to say that we love Senator Tahir Manguno. He's one of our great intellects, one of those in the Senate that stabilizes the Senate for us. He's a great legislator with great experience, a former chief whip of the House of Representatives, and a great representative of the good people of Borno State. So we value him a lot, and that's why we are here. And to say that, yes, we also condole with the governor and the good people of the entire senatorial district and the state as a whole. And to assure you that the 10th Senate is alive to its responsibilities of catering for the welfare of Nigerians through legislation. We'll continue to do our best. And with him guiding us, very experienced, we cannot go wrong.
When asked with regards to plans by the Nigerian Senate to purchase new aircraft for the president and his vice, the Senate president had this to say.
To dispense the rumor that you are hearing that the Senate president said that he will buy a brand new plane for the president and the vice, irrespective of the fact that Nigerians are hungry or whatever. I never said that. I was actually in Tanzania, in Zanzibar. So this is the handiwork of propagandists and people who never see, and feed columnists who never see anything good in what we are doing. Just be rest assured. Pray for the government, have patience, and be assured that the combination of Tinubu and Shetima will bring wealth and prosperity to all.
Akpabio stressed the importance of focusing on the needs of the Nigerian people, especially during these challenging times.
Borno, I'm happy to see that the peace has returned to Borno, and this is also as a result of the hard work of the current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I want to urge the good people of Borno to continue to support President Tinubu and his vice president.
He assured the public that the Senate's priority is to address the economic challenges faced by citizens and ensure that government resources are utilized effectively to improve the overall well-being of the country. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Former council chairman of 21 out of 23 local government areas in Rivers State on Monday staged a protest at their various council areas. In Buguma, council headquarters of the Asari Toro local government areas, former chairman Onenigi Yofore George, alongside his supporters, marched through the streets of the town, dancing to songs in solidarity with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. They waved placards with inscription asking the police to continue occupying the council headquarters. The pro-Wike former LGA bosses protested in their local council despite advisory against protests issued by the Rivers State Police Command. At Asari Toro local government area, the protests almost turned violent when some men believed to be operatives of Asari Dokubo's private military company, colloquially known as Amama soldiers, attempted to attack the protesters. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention says the country has recorded 1,528 suspected cases of cholera and 53 deaths in 31 states across 107 local government areas. Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Jide Idris, said this on Monday at a press briefing on the updates on the cholera outbreak in the country. Idris also said the federal government has activated the National Emergency Operations Center for Cholera. It disclosed that experts who conducted the risk assessment last week placed Nigeria at increased risks of cholera transmission and impact. The Ogun State government has confirmed 25 cases of cholera in 7 local government areas of the state, with 1 casualty from Ijebu North local government in Ogun East Senatorial District of the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tommy Koka, gave the figure in Abeokuta, the state capital, during a press briefing held at Olusegun Oshoba Press Center in the state capital. She said free surveillance and emergency treatment have been activated in all 20 local government areas of the state. She identified Abeokuta South, Abeokuta North, Obafemi Owode, Ijebu North, Ado and Odo, Ota local government areas as the most hit by the disease. Thank you for staying with us. The Lagos State Ministry of Health has reported 29 deaths and 579 cases since the cholera outbreak began 2 weeks ago. Speaking on Monday during a press briefing, the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, explained that the death rate was due to patients being presented late at a hospital or brought in dead. He adds that no case had been reported in schools. On June 11, 2024, Abayomi warned that the state had recorded an excess report of severe gastroenteritis cases. Abayomi disclosed that cases have been reported in communities around Etiosa, Lagos Island, Ikorodu, and Kosofe local government area of the state. And joining us to discuss more on this is Dr. Adefolari Okpawoye. He is an infectious disease consultant at Lagos University Teaching Hospital and public relations officer, Nigeria Infectious Disease Society. Good evening, glad to have you join me.
Good evening.
Let me just start by...
Glad to be here. Thank you very much.
The pleasure is all mine. I'll start by asking you, are there any factors that make this case more severe in Lagos compared to other states of the country?
Well, apart from the fact that we're a mega city and everything we tend to magnify it, whether it is good or bad in terms of money, the amount of money circulating in Lagos is probably more than other places. So the reality also is that when it comes to things happening, like diseases like this, which are worse in densely populated areas, then you can expect that there will be a higher number of cases in Lagos. Also, remember that Lagos has a very robust surveillance system, so it's easier for us to pick up cases than some other people will. So a combination of factors of densely populated areas, the sanitation conditions, and also the enhanced surveillance will mean that we'll record more cases than most people will. Thank you.
It's interesting you touched on Lagos being a mega city and also being highly populated. How effective are treatment protocols in managing these epidemic we have at hand as cholera cases, considering the challenges mentioned by the Commissioner for Health about late presentation?
Yeah, the treatment protocols are effective. However, it's difficult. Our health-seeking behavior generally is not the best. People tend to present to the hospital quite late for various reasons. I've seen patients who came in late because there was no one to take care of the children at home. A lot of people actually sort of like did not realize the seriousness of the condition. Some collapsed right there on the toilet where they were still pooing. So those are the challenges. Cholera is not that difficult to treat in terms of the severity of illnesses. We have illnesses which are much more difficult to treat if people come in early. But when people don't come in early, then it becomes a bit more complicated. Some will eventually end up with renal failure, and even after the initial symptoms have gone. So coming to the hospital early is very important. And we have seen now that treatment is free in the state hospitals. So hopefully this will encourage people to come earlier. And also the importance of starting to take ORS, that's the oral rehydration salt, immediately you have symptoms. People underestimate the effect of the diarrhea, and that is what is leading to some of the mortalities that we have been seeing so far.
You talked about people not presenting themselves early enough in hospitals. What role then does public awareness or even education play in preventing and also responding to outbreaks of cholera, and other related illnesses?
Yeah, public awareness is hopefully what we are trying to do here, and you also play your part by making a segment on this. Also, it's important to note that a lot of themes have gone out to the various local governments at that level, to the markets, to the churches, also to sensitize them and educate them, number one, on prevention, how to protect themselves better, and also that if in case they have symptoms, how to start treatment even before, and to present earlier at the hospital. So there's a huge role that education and awareness plays in curbing this kind of issues. Number one, to prevent them from happening in the first place, and also to sort of like minimize the impact once it's begun. And hopefully we are all trying to play our part in this public awareness and education.
Now, looking at an urban, state like Lagos State, you mentioned earlier on that Lagos is a mega city, highly populated. What are the challenges in preventing and controlling an epidemic like cholera in Lagos State?
Yeah, so the numbers are a big deal. And when it comes to cholera is mainly an environmental, a disease of environmental proportions. Is the environment that's actually the problem, then manifests as a health problem, issue. There's something we call WASH, which is what we try to do. That's looking at the water, sanitation, and hygiene. And when you have challenges with the WASH, which is provision of potable drinking water to people, where there are problems with sanitation, a lot of people are still defecating in the open. And that is why some of these things coincide with rainy season. When rain falls, the water table goes up. Some of improperly disposed waste will flow into surface water, which people will drink, and then you have this terrible cycle of different waterborne diseases. So dealing with this things can be challenging in a city as densely populated as Lagos, that the government is trying. However, we know we don't have very good drainage. We don't have very good water supply to most homes. Most homes don't have pipe or water. And also, we also have to take responsibility for ourselves. And, when you have more numbers, then it's very difficult to police people and get them to do what is right. So those are the challenges with water, challenges with sanitation, challenges with hygiene that a mega city like Lagos will face in handling an outbreak of this size.
Thank you so much for your insight on the news, Dr. Adefolari Okpawoye. Many thanks once again.
Thank you very much.
Several agencies from the Lagos state government have visited the charred remains of the Christ Embassy building, which went up in flames on Sunday morning. Though no casualties were recorded, the cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. Our correspondent, Bernard Akede, has details.
This is what is left standing of the popular Christ Embassy Church building on Billings Way, Oregun, Lagos. Shattered windows, caved-in roofs, gaping walls, all as a result of the fire that engulfed the building on Sunday. The morning after, and the area is now quiet. Heavy machinery is parked outside the premises, awaiting the next activities, while fire trucks go in and out of the premises, ensuring all flames are put out.
Yes, we've been seeing officials from LASEMA, that's Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. We also did see officials from Lagos State Building Control Agency, Fire Service and Rescue Agency as well in Lagos State, and the police force have been here. Now, the Building Control Agency, as they always do, came here to test the integrity of what is still standing from the fire to ensure how safe the building is. But information that has filtered to us has it that the General Overseer, as you could call him, that's Pastor Chris Oyakilome, has stated that regardless of what the result of the integrity test shall be, that he believes that they will pull down this structure, and then hopefully in about maybe another 2 years, they intend to erect another one.
We were granted access into the premises, but without our cameras, the extent of the damage caused by the fire cannot be accurately explained. Meanwhile, some of the heavy machinery had already started trying to salvage what they could from the building, but still, no one was speaking to the press. As at the time this report was compiled, there was still no official statement from the church's authorities concerning what may have led to the inferno. They could only be thankful that there were no casualties recorded.
While we all wait for further information from the authorities as to what may have caused the fire that brought down this building, in the next coming weeks, the only major activity that will be going on here will probably be the tearing down of the entire building itself. And according to church members and the General Overseer of the church, we should be expecting that another building would rise within the next few years. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
The Industrial Training Fund has called for improved training, certification and licensing of artisans to help them compete with their counterparts outside the country. Director General of the fund, which is currently meeting executives of training centers to develop a roadmap for improving the skill set of artisans, says that this will help them contribute their quota to national development and explore opportunities outside the country.
Starting the training for the skill of artisans. Most Nigerians think when we started, they told us, oh, you can't do this. This cannot be done. This is Nigeria. You are just coming from outside. You think this can be done? There'll be a lot of stumbling blocks. I said, no, the president has given me the go-ahead. I have him behind me. I have the entire presidency behind me, the National Assembly behind me. I have the entire artisans in Nigeria behind me. I push forward. And when I look back, I see the artisans. Now they call me the fathers of the artisans, father of the artisans. And I am ready to go. I'm encouraged by their passion. And I'm ready to move. We are scaling up the Nigerian artisans to international standard, and it begins now. This is why we are here.
A big issue in critical environmental thinking today is about the transition to a post-carbon world and the system of production globally. To tackle this issue, stakeholders in the climate change ecosystem have been rubbing minds with journalists on global justice and emancipation of global South from green colonialism.
Climate change enthusiasts and activists under the guidance of Health of Mother Earth Foundation, HOMEF, have been interacting with media practitioners and environment stakeholders. The dialogue seeks to extract global justice and climate change. Colonial relations underpin claims around transition, net zero and the green economy. Environmentalists like Nimo Bassi, Ibrahima Thiam, Breno Bringel and co-editor Miriam Lang, as panelists, critically explore the core themes and topics of a hugely timely and relevant publication, The Geopolitics of Green Colonialism.
We have to address these global injustices by generating South-South alliances and decolonizing not only our institutions and the global economy, the global trade, the global rules, and the climate action, but also our own imaginaries.
They agreed that the time for denial is over. Across the global north, the question of how we should respond to the climate crisis has been answered with a shift to renewables.
Personally, I believe that we live in systems that we try to accommodate too much and we don't question at all. But those systems were originally not made to work for us. And that is why we are all dissatisfied with this system. And the central message is that we should start looking at trying to imagine new ways of living. Imagine new ways of living where we have more power and more control. More control of where and how we live, more control over how we eat, more control over how we travel, and more control over how we manage our affairs.
But beneath the sustainability branding, these climate solutions are leading to new environmental injustice and green colonialism. The green growth and clean energy plans of the global north require the large-scale extraction of strategic minerals from the global south.
The just transition is not only a thing that is in the projects, in the hegemonic projects. We really have transition projects that are going on in the communities, in the different territories in Latin America and Africa, around energy, around alternative ways to think food, culture, and so on. So this is my main message today.
The geopolitics of transition implies sacrificing not only territories, but truly sustainable ways of inhabiting this world.
The central message today is that time is running out, and we have to have clear understandings of the fact that green colonialism will not solve the problem, the energy problem or the crisis in the world today. The world must be liberated. The peoples of the world must come together, organize across regions, and fight for justice and fight for liberty for our people and for the planet.
The publication provides a platform for the voices that have been absent in debates around energy and climate in the global north. Drawing on case studies from across the global south, the authors offer incisive critiques of green colonialism in its material, political, and symbolic dimensions.
The news continues in West Africa, where floods and landslides killed at least 24 people in 10 days in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire's largest city. Authorities revealed this on Monday after an unusual intense start to the raining season. Rain around 4 times heavier than normal fell on the West African nation's economic capital over several days in that period, causing spectacular rises in water levels and landslides. The National Office for Civil Protection reported 24 deaths after torrential rains from Thursday 13 to Saturday 22nd of June, warning of risk of collapsed building. The ONPC statement adds that 2 more people were missing after being swept away by the waters. In the east of the continent, in a powerful display of unity, hundreds of young Kenyans gathered in Nairobi to march, urging the church to denounce the controversial finance bill proposed by President Ruto. After months of voicing their frustration on social media, these young activists took to the streets to protest the punitive tax measures outlined in the bill. They argue that the proposed taxes will exacerbate the financial burdens on young Kenyans who are already grappling with rising living costs and limited access to well-paying jobs. Demonstrators are calling on the church to join their fight against the bill and advocate for a fairer economic future. And to unpack this, I'm joined by Managing Director, Exigent Risk Advisory, Declan Galvin. Good evening. Glad to have you join me.
Thank you for the invitation.
Let me start by asking, what do you think of the government of William Ruto? Recall last year, also in July 2023, he introduced housing tax of 1.25% and also increased the VAT on fuel from 8% to 16%, and that saw a wide protest. And now in 2024, we are seeing finance, bill. What do you make of his government? Is it just peculiar to William Ruto, or a case of the government just needs money?
So definitely the Kenyan government needs money. That's clear. It's there, kind of plain as day. There is some relief as of this week. There's been two kind of key developments. The Kenyan government has made payments on its euro bond, and then we also have kind of forex reserves, higher than they've been in the last 2 years. Those are two good indicators. But the tax measures, the aggressive finance bill that is moving its way through the National Assembly, all of this has to do with the government being broke.
Now, what are the potential implications for governance and also public trust if this government disregards the cry of the people being showed by protests?
So I think that even though the government is saying that they're going to negotiate on 1 or 2 terms, the public is overwhelmingly frustrated with the current economic conditions, which is not promoting the job growth that they expected under this administration, not allowing kind of the economic realities to purchase affordable kind of household essentials. These are major issues that are confronting people. And I think as this persists, I think that the public is just going to become more disenchanted with the government if they don't start seeing some economic dividends.
Now, following this protest by people kicking against this finance bill, has there been any address whatsoever from the government? What are they saying?
Yeah, the government is communicating, on its own terms. Again, the State House has said that they will negotiate on a few items, which the public has kind of brought up as frustrating. And today, the Minister of Interior, Kindiki, he outlined the rules and laws associated with public assemblies and protests. And so the government is kind of speaking to that. But to be sure, those who are protesting, the youth more broadly, or, the hustlers who, Ruto galvanized for his election victory a couple of years ago, they don't feel listened to, and they don't feel like they're meaningful participants in Kenya's democracy.
We understand the government also, in a bid to alleviate, the economic hardship there, kind of reduced 16% taxation on bread and also 2.5% annual tax on vehicles. How do you think that is being perceived by people there?
Yeah, so that's for people who are protesting, and we expect tomorrow to be much more significant in terms of protests than what we've seen in the last few days. That's simply not going to be enough. The people are really kind of basically saying reject the bill in its entirety, and are just very concerned about the economic reality and what that looks like moving forward.
Well, we hope things don't further escalate, but thank you so much for your time on the news. Exigent Risk Advisory, Declan Galvin, many thanks once again.
Thank you.
The death toll from a series of brazen attacks on churches and synagogues in Russia's mainly Muslim region of Dagestan rose to 19 on Monday after gunmen went on a rampage in the coordinated attacks in 2 of the republic's most important cities. In the Caspian city of Mankouch, about 125 kilometers north, gunmen with automatic weapons burst into an Orthodox church and a synagogue in the ancient city of Derbent, setting fire to an icon at the church and killing a 66-year-old Orthodox priest, Nikolai Katalinkov. A total of 15 policemen and 4 civilians lost their lives, while 5 of the attackers were also killed. Dagestan has announced 3 days of mourning.
В результате произошедшего вчера в республике террористического акта в городе Махачкале и в городе Дербенте пострадало 46 человек, среди которых есть как гражданские лица, так и работники правоохранительных органов. К сожалению, 20 человек погибли, среди которых также есть работники правоохранительных органов и гражданские улице. Вся необходимая медицинская помощь оказывается пациентам, госпитализированным в республиканские медицинские учреждения и в центральную городскую больницу города Дербента. Состояние 7 оценивается как тяжелое.
22 people were killed in a massive fire at a South Korean lithium battery plant on Monday, most of them Chinese nationals, in one of the country's worst factory disaster in years. Over 100 people were working in the factory when workers held a series of explosions from the second floor where lithium-ion batteries were being inspected and packaged. In the massive blaze that ensued, 22 people were killed, including 20 foreign nationals, 18 Chinese, 1 from Laos, and 1 from unknown nationality. According to the head of the Gyeonggi Fire Department, Cho Sun-hoo, initial investigations indicate that the fire spread in a matter of seconds, with toxic fumes quickly overwhelming workers in the area.
짧은 시간에 유독성 연기를 흡입하시고 그게 한두 군만 마셔도 금방 질식되고 의식을 잃거든요. 그러면서 이제 불이 커지면서 피해를 보셨는 걸로 지금 추정을 하고 있습니다. 현재까지 사망자 22명 중 외국인 희생자가 20명인 것으로 파악됩니다. 외국인 희생자에 대한 장례 절차는 유족의 뜻에 따라 이루어질 수 있도록 최선을 다하겠습니다. 외국인 유가족들에게도 전담 직원을 배치하여 필요하다면 항공료와 체류비, 통역 서비스까지 원스톱 서비스를 지원하도록 하겠습니다. 힘도 없이 있는 그대로 투명하게 여러분들에게 말씀을 드릴 것이고 아까 말씀드린 것처럼 사망자와 부상자와 또 유가족과 또 외국인 근로자에 대한 대책 마련에 만전을 기했다는 약속을 드립니다.
In business, the Nigerian Exchange Limited has fined 9 quoted companies 76.8 million naira for failure to file their audited financial statements after the regulatory due date. The companies, which included African Alliance Insurance PLC, VFD Group PLC, FBN Holdings PLC, Sterling Financial Holdings Company PLC, UPDC PLC, ABC Transport PLC, Presco PLC, E-Transit International PLC, and NCR Nigeria PLC were sanctioned for their inability to meet the regulatory requirements for the year-end 2022 and 2023 financials. Nigerians borrowed 14 times more in January 2024, and this is according to a recent report from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Nigerians obtained a total value of personal loans that stood at 3.03 trillion naira, a 14.3% increase from the 2.65 trillion naira obtained in December 2023. Report further states that total consumer credit outstanding increased by 11.9% to 3.82 trillion naira in January 2024, driven mainly by the rise in personal loans on the back of heightened inflation. The data shows that personal loans outpace retail loans, accounting for 79.2% of consumer credit, while retail loans account for 20.8% of total consumer credit. Following the success of the WTT contender in Lagos, dignitaries who attended the event praised the Nigerian participants and commended Lagos State for its competence in hosting an international event. Nigeria reached the final in the men's doubles with Olajide Omotayo and Azeez Sri Lanka becoming the first players from the continent to earn a trophy in the history of WTT series. Event organizers lauded the players for their resilience and dedication. And that's all on the news. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Court adjourns suit stopping Bayero for others parading as emirs. Ousted local government chairman defy police order, stage protest in Rivers State. Floods and landslides kill 24 in Côte d'Ivoire's capital, Abidjan. Send your Eyewitness Report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adeduba.